Okay, so it sounds like there are a couple different parts. So like, okay, how to
Yeah.
detect a beat.
So this could be 2 years, 3 years. Who
Yeah,
knows? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'm down
yeah.
for that. How to detect a beat, my process. Okay, sorry. What was the middle thing you said after you said how to detect a beat? You want to learn about my process, or is that the only two things?
Yeah. To transcribe
Okay, okay,
and yeah, and
okay.
also just your process overall of how you break down a song.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it seems, okay, yeah, yeah, that's fine. So how to describe my process? Yeah, I mean the transcribing thing. Yeah, yeah, that's really not that bad. I'll teach you another way to do it that will kind of make it a little simpler. So okay, well, out of
Yeah.
all these things, then is there somewhere you want to start, or do you kind of just want me to go?
Um.
We could start. Yeah.
I was also I was also thinking about you know how you were telling who was it? Which one of your students you were talking about
Yeah.
the different styles throughout history? I was like, oh, it would be interesting if I were to learn rap almost like in the way that rap was
Evolved.
developed. You know, like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
starting out with simple rhymes, with with the breaks
At the end,
and
yeah, yeah.
and working our way, yeah,
Yeah.
working our way forward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Learn the.
I don't know why I was thinking about that, but I
No,
was
no,
like,
no, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
I think I just really been excited.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just okay because I'm actually working on a video, which is why I wanted to talk about the Kendrick Humble video with you because I'm actually working on a video right now that is like a breakdown of his new album, Damn. But it's like a review, but it's like a review like in it's not like a normal album review because like in high school when you wrote like book reviews, you didn't just like give it like 10 out of 10 or like 5 stars.
Right,
Your teacher wanted you to
right.
talk about it. So like that's the kind of review I'm doing of Damn, and it's just funny because I in the video, and it's like 15 minutes long, I talk about these historic styles of rapping and how Kendrick seems to be playing with them on purpose. I'll definitely send that to you when you're done. So okay, the historic
Okay.
styles of rapping. Okay, well yeah,
Yeah.
I think then just
Also, if you
yeah.
need some visuals, let me know.
What's
You know what
that?
I mean? Like if you need some visuals for your videos, you can let me know
Oh,
and I can see what I can figure out. Because I also have access to like students and stuff like that, especially during the semester.
that would be so effing awesome. Yeah, dude, because I was
Yeah.
struggling through Final Cut Pro yesterday, and I was just like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I
I'm
don't know.
sorry, bro.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to use any of this shit. No, no, yeah.
That's like using toilet paper for me.
Oh, really? Wait. What do you use?
I actually use Avid, but I can use Final Cut. I can use Premiere. I can use
Oh, okay. What do you like to use then?
I like to use Avid.
Oh, is
I like to
Avid?
use Avid.
What's it just called? Avid?
Yeah, it's called Avid. I think it's called Avid Media Composer.
Avid
For
Media.
some reason, we call it Avid.
Okay, yeah, because I'm looking to teach myself one of these programs so I can put these videos together by myself.
That's the Avid is the industry standard.
Is it? Oh,
Actually,
fuck.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because I know. Have you ever watched any videos by this guy, the Nerd Writer?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah, because he uses Final Cut Pro because he said Tony Zhu or Tony Zhao, the dude who does every frame of painting, that's what he uses. But, okay,
Right.
because, yeah, I'm looking to teach myself one of these programs. But honestly, is
Yeah.
Final Cut Pro just like a slightly more powerful version of iMovie? Because that's kind of what it seems
Right.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
If Final Cut 7 was the last one that before they did the big changes, there was a huge uproar when they changed to Final Cut 10, or
Why?
X, whichever one it is.
Why? What did they change?
The entire interface. Pretty much they gave iMovie some steroids, like as you just said. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but like I need like a little more than that, Like I don't know if I really need like the creation power of like Photoshop or whatever you would use to actually create the visuals.
Right.
But like
Well, that's why I like to use Avid because it's like it focuses on editing, and I don't. If I want to do something else with visual effects, like I don't want to use Final Cut. I don't want to use Premiere. Or Avid, I want to use After Effects, or I want to use, like, I want to use these programs. Yeah.
Wait, yeah. So it's visual effects actually when you like create stuff like animations and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what do you use for that? After Effects?
So there are a lot of different programs. So there's After Effects, right?
Yeah.
Which is more like over like a planar 2D, way of doing it.
Yeah.
And then you have something like Maya, which is more like a 3D way of like actually doing your Z-axis, right? You can kind of fake a Z-axis in After Effects, but Maya is really built for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But as far as like motion graphics, it's usually After Effects for motion.
Okay, what do you like to use?
I'm not really much into motion graphics, but when I do it, I use After Effects.
Oh, do you? Okay, yeah, because I'm trying to figure this out, and I just want to get it right the first time, you know. Okay,
right.
Yeah, that's awesome then. Yeah, I could even send you
If you're doing simple editing, Final Cut is fine. Yeah, Final Cut.
Okay, that's fine. It's just kind of like figuring out how. I feel like Final Cut at this, because that's what the Nerd Writer uses. Oh, so he like makes videos like what I do for rap. He kind of does like for everything, like painting, soccer, music, movies, whatever.
Okay.
And he always uses Final Cut, and he gets paid. You know, have you ever seen the website Patreon, where you can pay people to do stuff to create content online? He gets paid like $3,000 a video. So and he does a video a week. So that's like he makes what? I don't know, $15,000 a year or whatever, which is, you know, so obviously he's good at what he does and Final Cut is good for it. But I think it's also a matter of, like, figuring out how to hide the fact that you made the video in Final Cut. You know, because some things it's just so easy to tell. Like, if you have, like, the one transition or, like, something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
but see, I don't use that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't ever use that stuff. I love cuts. I like cut. I want to communicate through the cut. I don't want to communicate. Maybe a dissolve. Sometimes I use a dissolve from one image to the other, but I love the cut because it's harder.
Yeah, exactly.
It's harder to get the cut right. You know what I mean?
Because I just saw a movie like that where everything was hard cuts. I can't remember. Oh, because I took a French cinema class. So obviously, and so they're like really, it was cool, like it was
badass filmmakers.
Yeah, exactly, it was taught in French, but I saw like Amelie, you know, but then I saw like, La Haine, it was the black and white one that was taught about kids, and that was really good. I think that all had like hard cuts and stuff like that, or even like, so, okay, this is really good then, so to bring it back, because we're back at the subject now, so like your videos, could I see like some videos you've made before?
Sure,
Why don't you email some of those to me afterwards? Because, if you're down with it, and I would love your help. I'll even send you the voiceover, just if you had ideas for visuals to, like, at minute 2, when you're talking about reviews of Damn, why don't you take pictures of other reviews of Damn, or just simple stuff like that, you know?
All right. Let me send you a clip real quick. It's not very long.
Okay.
For one of my... I did this for an editing class.
Okay.
Here we go. So I took Lauryn Hill's song, Consumerism.
Which one?
Consumerism.
Okay, is that from the Unplugged album, or is it a new one?
No, actually, it's just a single that she put out right around the time she got arrested.
Oh, okay.
Or not arrested, but arrested. Went to jail.
Yeah.
There we go. So I took a bunch of old music videos to create this music video.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like what I'm trying to do, like with my own videos, is just make it out of like edits. How many music videos do you use?
I haven't done many. I'm trying to get back to the corner. Mechanism, despotism, poison, an ecosystem. Satanism running through them like a politician. Hedonism, hypocritism, nihilism, narcissism.
Do you know what year she dropped this?
2 years ago.
Oh, really? Is there a Public Enemy video in that?
There's a lot of different videos.
Yeah, okay, I was just saying. Oh, that's cool. Okay.
European fetishism, terrorism, running through them on the television, introversion, extra prison tolerance for bad decisions, exploitative be the savior to correct the system, paranoia, skepticism, schizophrenic masochism, escapism, running through them need a sedative, medication, complication, devastation, negative.
Really, that's crazy. I haven't seen her. Oh, I think that's the Fatboy Slim movie, too, right? Music video? With the dude flying around the room, but the okay. And this even helps. Yeah, exactly. This is why I want to see your videos, because it helps me understand more what you're going for. Like to kind of maybe create that unity between like the audio world and the visual world and the story world. Because I mean, the obvious thing here, right, is that Lauren's rhymes are really fragmented, frenetic and fragmented and frenzied and berserk, and then kind of your cuts and music videos are like that too, right?
I followed her writing style for the music video.
Exactly.
I actually, what I did is like basically that whole song Consumerism is like she's giving these keywords throughout her rap. So I just looked for videos that define that. So I did a visual translation of what she was saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Audibly. Yeah.
And so that helps me to like better help you, figure out what you want to do. okay, well, obviously this brings us fucking full circle, because this is what Kendrick Lamar is really good at, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to use the phrase you just used, but, like, that, like, you wrote the music video the way she wrote her rhymes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of what Kendrick is really, good at. So, actually, and what I think, yeah, I mean, because the thing about rap, right, and you might even use this in your own directing, when you direct, film, is that, like, the thing about rap, right, is that it's, and again, this is why it's so well suited to the internet age, is because the rap, and this is, you know, I'm on, like, this Harvard podcast with Harry Allen, the guy who was on the Public Enemy records, like, Don't Believe the Hype and stuff like that, and what he really made me realize was that rap is really, like, this dense network of references, but not even, like, when you reference, when you're, like, shout out to Tupac or whatever, or, like, an ad-lib, but, like, the whole thing is rap. So, like, if you imagine just, like, a, yeah, like, almost like a spider web with, like, lines going from every artist to every other artist. It's kind of...
Oh, yeah, that's the article you sent me, that recent article, right? The most recent one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. That was a really good article.
Yeah, and so what's interesting is that, like, when you start to identify the references, is that the original song starts to disappear. And, like, the original song just becomes reflections of everything that it references. So, like, when Jean Grey references, like, Annie, Orphan Annie, you know, the musical, and then she references, because she loves to reference, shit, and then she'll reference, like, Phoenix, no, who's the actor who died? Phoenix Rivers? Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix's brother,
Yeah, exactly, yeah, she'll reference him, and then she'll reference Bach, and then she'll reference, like, the mayor who built that bridge in New York. I can't remember which one. And then Jean Grey starts to disappear in this really weird way, because you find out that Jean Grey is really just, like, Jean Grey equals, like, Rivers Phoenix, plus Joaquin Phoenix, plus Johann Sebastian Bach. So it's kind of just, like, almost like a mathematical formula in that way. So, like, and this is what, that's why rappers are so well suited to the internet, because it's really hard to represent that way of thinking in a book. Because a book is just really point A to point B, right?
Right.
And that's why, I mean, like, I don't know how much of, like, movie history you know, but, like, people really thought that movies would, like, make books irrelevant as soon as everyone could do it. Because they were like, well, movies seem to capture the way we think better, so why would we ever read books? Because books
just... It's a different medium.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because books are, like, linear, right? But movies, even though you're only watching one frame at a time, they can capture, like, stream of consciousness, you know, or, like, stream of consciousness, or even, what would you say, like, mental illness, or any of that, you know? So, yeah, like you've told from other, or probably can tell from my past lessons, I'm really into bringing in other art forms, which is going to work really well in your case. So, like, Marcel Proust's A Remembrance in Time, or whatever it's called, where he kind of just, like, talks about, like, how a cookie tasted when he was 5 years old or whatever, and he talks about it for, like, 200 pages, you know? That's kind of like, even though he wrote it in the book, that's sort of like a movie way of thinking, to just, like, sit in one place and for no action to really happen. So anyway, I talk about this because Kendrick's video really relies on this, and this is why I'm so surprised that, like, he wasn't credited as a video director. So what would be really good, I think, because actually something you said back at the start of the lesson would be really awesome. Metaphors and brevity. Okay, Kendrick Lamar is, like, because one of the things, right, is that rappers are so good at what they do, they really could have done anything. Like, Kendrick could be, like, a CEO of a company, I'm convinced, if he wanted. And one of these other jobs he could have held, because he understands communication so well, is he could have been, like, a PR man, like a pitch man, an advertisement, you know, because, like, McDonald's, I mean, think of slogans, like, McDonald's, I'm loving it, right? I don't know, what Subway's, like, so fresh, or Kit Kat, give me a break, you know, those slogans are more than slogans, right? Because some people, like, reduce it down and you're like, oh, it's just a slogan. Like, slogan almost has a bad connotation now, you know? But it's really, like, a really complex, like you're saying, way to express a metaphor with maximum brevity. So, like, I'm loving it, because McDonald's is in a really weird advertising place, you know? Because, like, you know, like, the, what's it called? The deodorant Axe?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that one? Like they only advertise to like dudes, right? Young guys who want to have who want to date girls, basically. So
right,
right, yeah, but like so that's kind of easy to do because you know that you're looking for like people between like 16, whatever, I don't know, 16 and 34, male, and like let's just say American, because I don't think Axe is in other countries. So that's a lot easier. But McDonald's now has a much harder job because McDonald's audience is literally everyone. They really have to talk to everyone. They have to talk to you, that kid who's off screen who was talking to you, me, my 86-year-old grandma.
My son, by the way.
Oh, hey, what's up, man? Yeah, like my 86-year-old grandma who's downstairs. Like, they have to appeal to everyone. So that's what I'm loving it is it's like they had to take, like, the mission statement of McDonald's and boil it down to 3 words. And not even 3 words. Now it's just 3 notes, right? Because what's the ba-da-ba-ba-ba, dun-dun-dun-dun, and we all know what it is. And that's how good they are at what they do. You know, so Kendrick is really similar in that way because, like, you know the song King Kunta?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so I love talking about this song.
Hold on just a second, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take your time. Yeah.
Vamos para allá. Estás trabajando, ¿ok? Ahorita te veo. Vamos. Vamos. Ahorita te veo. Sorry, bro.
No, yeah, that's fine. Are you good?
Yeah, good.
Okay, yeah. So now, like, understanding what a slogan in advertising does is, like, rappers do this all the time. But obviously, it's not a slogan, you know? It's their rhymes. It's their metaphor. But they're still doing the same thing that an advertising slogan does, right?
That's so true, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what should I say? A good metaphor in rap does the same thing that a good advertising slogan does for in the PR business, right? Because this is really what Kendrick is good at, and why Kendrick is so popular is because he is perfect at translating these really complex concepts into a single image. So I'm gonna send you some of these. Come on, dog. These images right now. So just try to you mind giving me a second while I look up these images to shoot you them? Yeah, cause they're from a few, and I wanna you'll probably recognize them. But I wanna talk about them a little more in depth, right? And maybe while I'm gathering the other ones, you can just start. Because I can transfer them, and I think you can look at them if you go over to the, do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, we're going to talk about all these, like...
I love that cover.
Exactly, right, and there's a reason you love it, and we're going to talk about why you love it. So yeah, now I'm just going to go through the Humble video real quick. Oh, God, okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to keep all the... Fuck. Yeah, just give me a second.
Counting lips, in fact I'm down in this. I'm say with my boo babe, tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy your Westie world. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes phone. If I be the greatest phone, went viral. Right stroke, my left stroke just went viral. Stroke, put to keep it on the high. No, it's levels to it, you and I know. Bitch, be humble. Hold up, bitch, sit down. Hold up, bitch, sit down.
By the way, I also enjoy how committed you are to your opinion.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, gotta put your money where your mouth is. So, yeah, why? Did you see a certain video or something?
Yeah, no, throughout, you know, and also like in the like the blog responses and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Why? Like when someone
the comment section, you know.
Yeah. Hey, man. Yeah, dude. You kind of gotta keep the haters on high alert, man. You can't let that shit slide, bro. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm still trying to capture these photos.
No, and just the way you just say certain things, like people usually say that. Oh, what was it you said? People usually say that you can't determine how good somebody is by these parameters. But I am saying that. You know?
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, and that's like a whole. You'll probably get that rant sometime if we talk about it. But I don't know, man. People are just kind of like afraid to like say anything. Not even. Obviously, you shouldn't say anything that's like disrespectful. But people don't even sometimes want to say stuff that's like uncomfortable anymore. And so yeah, I just
it's part of this age. Exactly, you said it right there.
Yeah, and like for me, I just realized for the longest time that like this eventually just became like a cudgel, like a bludgeon to hit rappers with. Because I'm sorry, man, that's like the fucking trap door that everyone gets out the back in their arguments over music in. Like, oh, well, it's just music, so it's completely subjective. And it just becomes like this cover, I feel like, that people use to like try and
it's the same thing as let's agree to disagree.
Yeah, and it's just like, no, dude, like Kendrick Lamar is better than Drake, and rap sometimes is better than classical music, so that's really funny that you picked up on that, because I'm definitely committed to that too. Yeah, sorry, I just have a few more to capture. Yeah, I know. I mean, and it's just ridiculous, because everyone nowadays, you know, like, if you got a computer and a blog, they kind of think they're like experts and can kind of just tell me what's good. And at the end of the day, they're always like, oh, well, why should I listen to Martin Connor about rap music? And I'm always like, well, why would you listen to a lawyer about the law, bro? Why would you listen to a mathematician about math? Dude, like, I study it 7 hours a day, literally every day. You know, like, I don't take days off because, like you're saying, like, I clearly enjoy this, so my work is the same as what I do for fun. So whether it's a vacation or, like, a weekend off, I'm always doing the same stuff.
It's the same thing with me and Phil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I'm almost there.
And you know, and I think the main thing is like not many people are into things like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm like I was able to recognize it, right? Like I was able to recognize the passion, and I think I can relate to it. You know what I'm saying? Because then once you have passion, process is right behind it, right? Like
exactly.
Start saying, okay, how can I understand this in a way that I can communicate? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's really like, I'm glad you picked up on that, because and I think it does come back to like kind of just, I don't know if it's like the internet has made people so fucking jaded as to like the possibilities of what a single person can do nowadays, but I just got tired kind of like being talked down to and just be like, so finally I just went completely in the other direction to just be like, no man, like all of this shit is able to be identified and talked about.
And it's okay if you're wrong.
Exactly, yeah, and that's really like what people don't want to do kind of anymore. It's okay to
change your opinion because you got smarter and wiser.
Yeah, exactly, and that's really like, so I even had the idea, you know, I'm coming out with a book for someone to immediately write a chapter afterwards that would just, after my book, that was just only a rebuttal, where they would take everything I said and show why it was wrong. Because, like, that's how committed I am to this, is like, I don't care really, like, if I'm famous or if I make money off it, but if people know more about rap and if I learn more about rap, then, like, that's kind of all I want to do. So, like, I know, like, there are some people who won't get that, but, like, at the end of the day, like you're saying, like, you just can't be afraid to be wrong, you know?
Right.
So, I'm glad you picked up on that. Yeah, because the thing with the blogs, man, is it's fucking ridiculous. Like, it's just like, no, dude, like, I'm sorry, I've listened to these songs hundreds of times, so, I do know rap better than you, and I can define it in these objective ways. I just sent you a whole bunch of pictures. Did you get those?
Okay, I'm gonna go right now. Yep, got them.
Okay,
you're choosing some good ones.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, so just open them and look through them real quick, and we're kind of gonna break it, look through them real quick, and then we're gonna talk about how he does this in his music, too.
Okay.
Right?
Alright.
Yeah, okay.
You want me to stay looking at them while you talk, or you want me to come back over?
Where do I want to start with?
I could remember them.
No, okay, no, actually, this will be helpful. Why don't we, and maybe you've done stuff like this before, I don't know what being taught how to direct looks like, but let me pick my favorite one, and then I'm going to ask you to talk about it.
Okay.
And I want you to talk about what the visual. Oh my god, dude! When you watch the music video in just a series of stills, it's giving me goosebumps, man. It is so good. All right, I want to come up with the most transgressive. I think because a lot of that's the thing, right? Rap is a black art form, but obviously
that needs to stop.
What? What do you think?
Rap is a black art form.
Oh! I'm just saying it's black people started it. Like black people created it.
Oh yeah. Well, poverty started it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Because actually, it's funny. I just read a book that its only goal was not its only goal, but one of its goals was to set the historic record straight and to point out that actually it was Latino and black artists in the 1970s who started hip hop. Because I didn't even know, but the Up Rock, God, what do they call it? The Rocksteady crew. The Rocksteady crew was all Hispanic, and I didn't know that at all. I just heard the name and I assumed they were all black. But one of the
I think more like, all right, well we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
But I think that right now, like, we're holding it back with just having it be concentrated on just one race. I think it's grown beyond it.
Oh
like,
yeah.
And it will never lose its beginnings, right? But I want it to blossom. I want it to grow. I want it to become more than what it is right now.
Oh yeah. And I think it's definitely headed that way. I'm just saying that. Oh, okay. To point it out. Okay. Well, because a more accurate way would say, rap is a art form that first showed up in the minority community, and I think that's like pretty much beyond historically. Yeah, because my big thing, basically, it's non-white. That is what I want to bring to the forefront. Because so the picture I want you to look at then is the because that's but in the course of becoming mainstream, what sometimes happens to minority art forms that have come from minority communities like rock, is that the white mainstream takes it over and then severs it from its roots, right? Like Elvis, most people knew about Elvis at first and not Chuck Berry, even though Elvis just rewrote a lot of the same songs or restyled, or like Led Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, but now we know Chuck Berry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because of Elvis. You see what I'm saying? Like it's a give and take.
Yeah. Oh, but I only want to talk about it because Kendrick's transgressions have a lot to do with unspoken societal racial barriers. And
that's his thing, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And so that's what I love about it. I mean, because the obvious thing, they even make a joke about it, like, I like calling the White House the Black House or whatever. Like the front. That's really why I love the album cover. Is because it's like a of To Pimp a Butterfly, because it's a perfect fuck you to white mainstream America, to be we are in the White House and we didn't even fucking change. We've still because Kendrick has it. To me it's he created it so that, what would you say? I don't know. Someone who Phyllis Schlafly's, who's the woman who ever ended the Equal Rights Amendment. Yeah. Schlafly. I don't. How do you say it? Schlafly. So I imagine it. Yeah, I imagine it that Kendrick created the cover for To Pimp a Butterfly in a way that Phyllis Schlafly would be maximally not insulted but offended. That's the thing, because insults are personal, but offended is societal. It's your community. So Kendrick kind of, I feel like put the image that Phyllis Schlafly would have of a black person, but he put that kind of black person in the White House just to give as big a middle finger as possible to Phyllis Schlafly, And so that's kind of why, because they've got 40 bottles. I think some people have blunts. No one's wearing a shirt. They're all young black men without their hair done in any white kind of way, like the freaking conch that they used to wear back in the Zoot Suit era or whatever. So it's just raw blackness in the most whitest power center of all time. Because until Barack Obama, there was no black president. So that is my analysis of that visual photo, right?
And for me, it says we built this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's really exactly. Oh, you mean literally built, the house?
We built this house. house, right?
Yeah.
It was built off of our backs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? This is what we look like when it was built, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. And it's just like,
and I love that album cover.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
My favorite album cover of all time.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's
why I think Kendrick's societal commentary is actually the real deal, because it's mostly unapologetic. You know, like, it's like Black Lives Matter, which is like, it's just like we don't, like, we're black and we're not even gonna, like, what would you say, like, assimilate in any way? Not assimilate, that's not the right, tone it down, I guess, right? Because some white people will be friends with black people, but only if those black people act, quote unquote, act white or whatever. But yeah, again, we're kind of veering far afield. But the thing, okay, so could you take one of these photos then?
Well, you need to also, like, consider the opposite, which is there's a lot of black people that don't want to be black.
Yeah.
Want to be white.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a really interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
It's a social dynamic, right? It's a thing of the collective, right?
Yeah. I mean, and it's just, I mean, it's kind of too funny to watch the Trump administration nowadays with all of its racial.
Man,
yeah.
It's just bringing out to light what has been happening all the time, man.
I know, yeah. That's the thing, and you know, because they have these really bad photo opportunities where it's like all white men around a table as Donald Trump takes healthcare away from, you know, abortion providers or whatever. But it's like someone pointed out, like, no, that's not a gaffe. They mean for it to be that way, so they communicate that, like, white men are in charge again or whatever. But yeah, so what I wanted, okay, because we could do, so I just showed you kind of how, I mean, really, like, how to say, like, a black disruption of a white power center is really what, like, To Pimp a Butterfly, the entire album is about. Like, that's what 80 fucking minutes is about. This dick ain't free, you know, that Kendrick is just telling everyone to go fuck themselves. But he took 80 minutes and he condensed it down into a single screenshot. That's what's incredible to me. And I think that's what will help you with your visuals and understanding rap. Because now, like, could you talk about any of those screenshots I sent you in the same way?
Sure, you tell me which one you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
they're all powerful.
They're also powerful. Whichever one you want to do, but I would do. I could probably most easily talk about the Last Supper one. You know, the one that I sent you right after the album. So could you talk about that one at all?
Sure. So let's see here. So obviously, it's a callback to the famous painting.
Yeah.
And it's something that is referenced a lot throughout art history.
Yeah.
Also recent history. I don't know if you saw that Paul Thomas Anderson movie, Inherent Vice.
Oh no, was that good?
But there's a Last Supper callback there also.
Oh, okay.
You know, and one of the things that Kendrick is really good at is also being sort of a translator of, you know, the spiritual and the physical.
Yeah.
And so obviously one of the disruptions with the Last Supper was Jesus indeed black or white, right?
Yeah.
I think that is the most obvious. And when you think of the Last Supper and what it meant, and about, you know, the sacrificial lamb, in many ways Kendrick is also putting himself as that person. You know, as he says, you know, he's the legacy of Tupac, right? Yeah. And Tupac was very much about being being the sacrificial lamb. As a matter of fact, I think it was which one, the 7 Day Theory album, when he's literally on a cross.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so. Also here, I think what is very interesting about what Kendrick does, especially in context of the damn album, is how Jesus is the one that is betrayed by everybody around him, right? And I think that's one of the running motifs with him in his damn album, like in songs like Loyalty. Yeah. And pretty much in a lot of these songs, he keeps harking on back to that. Now, as far as visually is concerned, I think what is interesting, what really comes off of me the strongest here, is how his head is the lowest one. Yeah. From all of them, right? Yeah. Now I don't know if it's because this still. I can't really recall if his head was lower than everybody else throughout the whole thing as he was rapping. But it's in context of the song Humble, right? That is the utmost humility you can do, is sacrifice yourself for somebody else.
Yeah,
right?
And so, again, kind of, I would totally 100% agree with everything. A point about, you're right, it is still in the middle of kind of a shot in which there is a lot of motion going on. But, yeah, the thing is, I mean, Kendrick's kind of just a small guy anyway. But to expand upon your point that his head is the lowest, another way to build on that is to say that he's actually taking up the least physical space. You know, like everyone else's legs are far apart, their hands are outstretched. They're reaching for stuff. They're looking at people. But Kendrick is like just kind of like in a smaller box and looking straight at you. And so
nobody's looking at him.
Exactly, yeah. And actually what happens next is he turns to the guy standing up now and he tells him to sit down and he's like, be humble. You know, sit down.
Right.
Yeah. So obviously, your identification of the Last Supper is spot on, and I would agree with everything. What I'm amazed by is kind of just how faithfully they recreated it, because even like that guy leaning away, you know, in the original Last Supper, that dude is leaning away, you know, and so again, it's almost like a translation along the lines of the GKMC one, where, but instead of the White House, it's now the Last Supper, because like you're saying, like when they painted the Last Supper, all those guys look super white. But Jesus was a Jew from Galilee, and Jews from Galilee.
Well, also, it's a thing, right? Like, Black Supper painting is a thing in black homes. Not all black homes, but it's something I've seen more than once before.
Oh, really?
Right?
Oh, okay.
The Black Supper recreated with black people.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't realize that. That's super cool.
Yeah,
I didn't realize. I would love to know kind of like what house they're in right now, what mansion. Because it looks super badass. But
I haven't been in any black mansions.
Yeah.
This is at home.
Yeah.
We just have it at home.
But and then obviously you can see the bread on the table, and like they seem to have like their 40s again, just like they did on the front of the TPAB album. But so like you start to see these things again, like these really big, dense forms, or even like the super obvious one is the one where he's looking out the window, grabbing on his nuts, while like 20 guys apparently have guns trained on him. You know, like he's just saying he doesn't give a fuck. Like that's how hard he is. He will speak these themes no matter what it takes in the coming. So that's like the visual aspect of it, and like because you're talking about like the sacrifice, right? That Jesus is sacrificed, because it does remind me of a line not from TPAB but from GKMC where he's like, I live inside the belly of the beast. Or I live inside the belly of the rough Kendrick Lamar, aka Compton's Human Sacrifice. Or God, I mean I really, because it's so spot on with what you're talking about. I really want to, just give me a quick second to look it up.
The next generation, they hold the context, sleeping alive, and the option of living alive. Drive their body with toxins, constantly drinking and drive. Hit the party, then watch this flame that arrive in his eye. This account with the cops of his name, and they bang in the slide. Out that bitch with the pies and the price in his head. The tots probably go to the projects. Live inside the belly of the rough, Compton, USA. Made me an angel.
Oh, that's no, it's from the front. It's okay. My bad. Hold on.
Where you bend down? Texas success. When we in traffic and tragic happens, that shit ain't no threat. You moving backwards, the few suggest that you sleep with.
Let me find the line real quick.
Cocaine. This is cold and second, plenty cognac and major pain. Not the drill sergeant, but the stress that weighing on your brain. It was BL Boogie, why she lucky? Right down Rose Crescent, got ugly, waving your hand out the window, checking.
My bad.
Fire, cause I was cocaine lit. The next weekend we broke even. Straight up human sacrifice. Should have made a promise to see you bleeding. So the basis was still I never know my life. Kendrick, aka Compton's Human Sacrifice.
So, you know, the line is, you know the reasons, but you'll never know my life. Kendrick, a.k.a. Compton's Human Sacrifice. And that's exactly what you're talking about, right? So to move kind of from the visuals to the rap now, one really good way that, or a song on which Kendrick did this really well is King Kunta. So I want to listen to a little bit of it, and then we can wrap up real quick. Do you know the song? Okay.
I don't want your monkey mouth motherfucker sitting in my throne again. I'm mad, but I ain't stressing. True friends. One question. Bitch, where you and I was fucking. Now run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kuta, everybody wanna cut the legs off. Kuta, black man taking no loss. Oh yeah, bitch, where you and I was fucking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kuta, everybody wanna cut the legs off. When you got the yams, what's the yams? The yam is the power that beat. You can smell it when I'm walking down the street.
Okay, so now, you know, we saw how Kendrick did it with visuals in the movie of The Last Dinner, or The Last Supper, rather, and or the cover of GKMC. But now his really brief metaphor comes in rap, you know, which is the art form itself. So, but now the metaphor is the yams. And so we can talk about the yams in the same way that we've talked about advertising slogans, or the same way that we've talked about those visuals. Because the yams are actually really the most concise possible condensing of really complex poetic themes, right? Because if you read that link I sent you, this is what it says. This line includes an allusion to Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. The unnamed narrator is walking down the street of New York City when he smells yams, triggering memories of his hometown in the South. The yam is used as a symbol of authenticity. The protagonist famously declares, "I am what I am." Here, Kendrick is declaring his own authenticity. Yams are a key ingredient in African cuisine and have significance in some parts of Africa as a sign of social status. In his novel, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, he begins by documenting how a man's worth in Igbo society was largely determined by his yearly yam yield. When Kendrick says he got yams, he means he has attained money, power, and prestige. So again, we see this really nice condensing of a really complex theme. Like, the question is, why is Kendrick awesome? And the answer is because he's got the yams. So then you have to spend the rest of the time talking about the yams, right? And what the yams are. And then he goes on to say, the yams is the power that be. You can smell it when I'm walking down the street. So he's saying that he's got the power. If he wants something to happen, he can make it happen. And that is power, and that is the yams. Because I actually originally knew the symbol from having read the Things Fall Apart book. I didn't know the Ralph Ellison reference. But that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, in the same way we broke down kind of McDonald's, I'm Loving It, and then we got to Kendrick's The Last Supper. Now we're at the yams, and we're back at rap. So everything that Kendrick wants to say is the yams. And if you really wanted to, you could spin what the yams are out into a 2,000-word graduate thesis essay and give it to a professor and get an A or whatever. But he obviously he can't do that because he's a rapper. And good art comes across in what you leave unsaid. You know, because otherwise just write a fucking paper, write a fucking blog post. But you have to but you have to give listeners a little space so they can imprint who they are onto your art. So you can't spell out everything, you know? You have to leave a little bit of stuff unsaid, and that's what metaphor is. That's what poetic techniques are. That's what metonymy is, and synecdoche, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think this is a really good place then to stop. Because, because then when you listen to other rap, like when they reference their other things, when they reference nouns and stuff, obviously it's going to be in a poetic way. So you have to think about, well, if the rapper was going to explain what it's about, what would they say? You know, and they have different, all rappers have their different kind of symbol system. Like their references of touch. Like if you're a gangster drug dealer, you might talk about the corner. And then the corner represents you trying to earn a living or whatever. But, I don't know, if you're from like, like if you're fucking Eminem, then you grew up almost, what is he, redneck, right? Because he's really from Missouri or Mississippi. And then you talk about trailers. So what does he say to his mom? He's like, in Lose Yourself, it's, hold on, let me look it up. Lose Yourself, Rap Genius.
I can go back to the trailers.
Exactly, yeah, something about Salem. Hold on, I want to get it right, because then this is another, good, oh yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite moments in the entire rap history ever. Baby mama screaming out too much. Another day of monotony's got me to the point I'm like a snail. I've got to formulate a plot or end up in jail or shot. Success is my only motherfucking option. Failure's not. Mom, I love you, but this trailer's got to go. I cannot grow old in Salem's Lot. So the trailer, you know, what? Why does Eminem want to get rid of the trailer? Because its wheel is flat? Because it's fucking...
Right.
No, he wants to get rid of the trailer because it represents just he's not going anywhere.
Oppression and poverty.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just like, so like if he tried to get out, he's just spinning his wheels, you know. And he'll just end up back where he was, working at a restaurant, because there's this one really great picture I love, Eminem working at a restaurant, where he's out behind the restaurant he used to work at, just taking out trash. Oh, fuck. Trash bags. I think it was in the little biography he did where he talked about, this one, where he talked about DJ Proof so much, and after Proof died and stuff like that, you know? So, like, this is how Eminem does it. Like, that's what Eminem is represented by. You know, he's out behind his restaurant, and he's not even, you know, like, he wasn't even the fucking man at his restaurant, bro. He wasn't like a waiter or like a chef. You know, he was like the fucking dish guy. And I've worked those jobs before, and it's just like, the dish guys, man, they do all the hard work, you know, and it's just like...
Yeah, I've been a dishwasher.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, to think that one of them, that, like, the fucking, what was that guy's name? Troy? That Troy would grow up to be, like, Eminem or whatever, or, like, a year after he left the restaurant, he'd be rapping with Dr. Dre, you know, that's mind-blowing. But that happened, bro. And that is what those trash bags symbolize. It's what the yams symbolize. It's what the trailer park symbolizes. So this is, like, what I think you could take away for your screenwriting is, like, okay, let's just say, what's, like, a theme you like to talk about in your movies? Like, consumerism?
I like talking about poverty.
Okay, so poverty. Yeah, but, like, what are you gonna do, man? Are you gonna make a document? I mean, you might, but let's just say you have to make a movie. But, like, you're not gonna make a documentary about poverty, because people can just...
No, like, I wouldn't make a movie about poverty. Like, for example, I'm working on a screenplay right now about a poor illegal immigrant, right? But it's not about a poor illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then that would just be tacky.
Yeah. I feel...
Yeah,
I feel that. Yeah, and I agree with it. It's just like, you know, you wouldn't, in your movie, you won't have the illegal immigrant, like, print out the Government Accountability Office's 2016 financial report and read, like, 40% of Americans are under the poverty line. Only 30% were under it a year ago, or whatever. Because that's not a movie. People will feel like you're talking down to them. So then maybe you start with a symbol of, like, poverty. I mean, for a lot of people, you know, they can't... Like, a classic thing is not being able to fill up your gas tank all the way, you know? And so it's like, maybe that's the symbol. That, like, when the climax of the movie starts and this, let's just say the ending of the movie is someone in poverty just snaps and goes crazy. And so, like, maybe what sets them off is that finally, like, they get in a fight with their wife because no one was home to babysit their kid, and they try to get in their car to leave, and they realize that their car has no gas, because that's a classic thing, that you can't fill up your gas tank all the way, right? And so then that is what sets off the kind of unraveling of the family, where then everyone breaks up, the kid goes into an orphanage, the woman goes to a battered shelter, the man goes to jail. And then your point is, like, not that, like, he's a bad person, the point is that poverty just grinds people, you know, until you're not, you don't make your own decisions anymore. Because that's really what it is, you know, they say the cycle of poverty, and then you literally can't get out, and I don't know how someone would do that today. So maybe it's like that half-empty gas tank would do what the yams did for Kendrick. It would do what the trash bags did for Eminem. Because it's really simple. You don't have to sit there and tell your viewer, like, oh, it sucks to be poor. You just show them the half-empty gas tank, and everyone will know what that's like. A lot of people will know what that's like. You know, to be like... so I think that's really what he could use for it, because that's what rappers are really good at, is expressing really complex ideas only in a sentence or two.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's like, you can know the reasons but never know my life, Kendrick, a.k.a. Compton's Human Sacrifice. I always thought that, like, that summed up GKMC. For TPAB, what summed it up would probably be one of the, maybe Black of the Berry, you know, Black of the Berry, Sweet of the Juice. If Sula and Dosa went to war, you know, the ending of that might be a good, summary for the
When game banging make me kill a nigga, pouring endorsements, or watch BET, cause urban support is important. So why did I weep when Trayvon Martin was in the street? When game banging make me kill a nigga blacker than me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really powerful line, too, right? At that point, at that point, Trayvon Martin is a symbol, too, of, like, lost blackness. A blackness that was lost, you know, because it wasn't appreciated for being a human soul or whatever. And then Kendrick is saying, like, why did I weep for Trayvon Martin? I mean, because that's the thing, right? Rappers a lot of times will say stuff that everyone thinks, but no one wants to say aloud. And just rappers, you know, I give them points. I think God would love them for just how deeply they search their souls to make sure they're good people. You know, just to be
Absolutely.
like, yeah, just to be like, Kendrick could be like, well, I'm rich and I made it and I got my mom out the hood if I wanted to, but that's not good enough for him. So then he asks himself, like, well, everyone thinks of me as this black artist, but how committed am I really when I would kill someone blacker than me at the end of that? So that's a good one. But even some lines from King Kunta, you know. So yeah. So what do you think, man?
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, so if I were you, I would look over these screenshots and then we can go over more of your videos next time and then touch on those other topics that we set out at the start. That sound good?
That sounds perfect, man.
Cool, thanks, man. Well, yeah, you have a good day,
brother.
all right? Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
All right, cool.
All right, peace, dude.
Peace.
See ya.